Hi everyone, my name is Brad Gall and I'm a Senior Principal Consultant here with PragmaticWorks, and today I want to talk to you about top 3 ways that you can test out the Azure waters. So everybody's talking about Azure these days. Not all of us have gotten into Azure though. Some of us haven't even touched it yet. So what are top 3 ways that maybe you can test out Azure within your organization to see how it fits, to ramp up on it, and figure out how you can start using it very soon. So the number one way that we work with a lot of customers, especially with infrastructure teams, is using Azure for some DR capabilities. So a lot of us have maybe a colo offsite that we're using for DR, something along those lines where we've taken some hardware, we're paying for another site away from, of course, our main data center, and we're setting up hardware there and setting up replication, things like that. Looking at Azure could be a great way to change up how we're doing that, to change how we're spending our costs on that, and to start using public cloud and see how we can implement that within our infrastructure strategy. Some of the things you get with this is you're cutting down your capital cost for hardware that you hopefully never use, right? DR centers are great, you have to have them, but we're hoping we'll never use it. So let's try and cut down on the cost we have there with something that's scalable, that we can fire up as we need to, and we can delete whenever we're done with it. A second way to kind of test out the Azure waters would be dev test. So dev test is another great scenario for testing on Azure. How many of us would love to be able to have a test environment that actually matches our production environment's performance? Typically, we're not going to spend that kind of money on-prem for hardware that we're not going to use in a production scenario. But with Azure, we can fire up a VM that has a matching performance level of our production, do some performance testing of our applications, and then tear it down when we're done. It's a great fit for the cloud. It's a great, easy way to test out the cloud because, again, we're not affecting production at all. We're just setting up things for dev test, tearing it down, low risk factor there. And then finally is my favorite, it's just to POC something. So one of the great ways to test out something is just to do some POCs. So maybe a couple ways to do that would be, maybe there's a business scenario that you guys just haven't been able to solve yet. For whatever reason, you just don't have the hardware resources, we just haven't been able to solve it. Maybe we take one of those cases that we think is just way down the road that we can't solve. Let's test it out in Azure and see what we can do. There's lots of resources within Azure that you just can't do with on-prem. You can fire up big data clusters. We can do a lot of AI stuff out of the box that Microsoft gives you. Just try something like that out. Another way to maybe POC something is to just take one of those technologies and learn about it. So take the technology, decide to dig into it, see how you can apply it to one of those business problems. And that way you learn what technologies are available to you so that whenever the problems come up, you know what you need to do to solve those. As always, we're always here to help here at PragmaticWorks. If you'd like to talk to us about maybe how to implement one of those POCs, set up your DR, set up a dev test infrastructure, click one of the links below and be happy to talk to you about it. Thanks.